LinkedIn is a social networking site that's used by millions of professionals worldwide. What's important about LinkedIn is that it's not the same as your Facebooks, your Twitter, your Instagrams. This is a professional network of industry representatives. So there are certain things that you want to be keeping to your own personal social medias and focusing your LinkedIn on those workplace achievements or the things that are related to your professional development. What LinkedIn does enable you to do is present yourself professionally, search for jobs and other opportunities, and it is really a huge platform. Now, when I give you access to these slides afterwards, it's a really useful video for anybody who's new to LinkedIn, which you can have a little watch, and it'll talk you through short, sharp overview as to what LinkedIn can help you with. The other amazing thing about LinkedIn is that LinkedIn has over 675 million members worldwide. Now, this is only a really small slide here, but actually you can see that it's represented across the globe. So if you are thinking, actually, I kind of like the idea of overseas opportunities, then use LinkedIn to really tap into that. There's 28 million people using it in the UK, so that's 75.6% of the UK's working population. That is absolutely staggering because those are the people that have the opportunities. So the power of LinkedIn is just phenomenal. So why should you use it? Well, it's certainly more than a job searching tool. It's actually, if used right, a career management tool. And that is to help you build a positive and professional online profile and presence. Now, LinkedIn has been said to be the most effective way of job searching, and you can see our stats over there. Over 50% of recruiters post jobs on LinkedIn and nowhere else. So if you've not got job alerts set up on LinkedIn profile, then you could be missing out on a good chunk of roles. And I'll talk you through that in a moment. LinkedIn is based off keyword matching. So that means that the more of the keywords that you use on your LinkedIn profile, the more likely you are to appear in search recruiters' searches. So we'll talk about how you can optimize your profile to the most in just a moment. But remember, 80% of LinkedIn users consider professional networking crucial to their success. So it's really one of those that you need to get involved with. Just before we moved on to the demo, what's important is if you've got a LinkedIn profile, but you've not achieved the all-star status, then we need to be doing that for you. An all-star profile is based on your profile strength, and I'll show you in a small while how you can check if your profile is all-star status. What's important is that an all-star profile is 27 times more likely to be found in recruiters' searches. It also means that a LinkedIn profile allows you to create that online brand and that recommendations demonstrate your credibility. Remember that LinkedIn will match your job opportunities based on your profile. So if you've not developed your profile enough, you're not going to make the full effect of LinkedIn. So you've got to make sure that you've got a strong profile which is encouraging other professionals to connect with you. And LinkedIn's motto is opportunities are attached to people. And that's really what it aims to do. So what I'm going to do now is go on to the demonstration. Now, when I give you the slides, I've also given you some slides which you can have a read through. I'm not going to do that today. I'm actually going to do a demo for you so that we can kind of go through this together. Whilst I'm doing this, I'm not going to be able to see anything happening on here. So if you've got questions or you want to ask me anything, please just unmute yourself and we will go forward like that. Okay. So this is LinkedIn. Now you can access LinkedIn, just linkedin.com if you're new, and you can register for free. We're obviously using the desktop app, but it will look slightly differently when you're using a tablet or a PC, so just be aware of that. So a little bit of an overview of what's happening here. Now, when you log in, you will have your timeline of all the different content that is appearing based on what you're following and what you've liked in the past. So this is really a good summary for everything that's going on in your network. This on its own is quite powerful. I always recommend that if you've got a job interview or anything that you're going to, actually spend 15 minutes before that job interview flicking through your LinkedIn feed. Because once you've tuned it in, you'll be able to pick up on some recent industry articles that you might be able to bring in to your interview. We can see that here you've got things around your LinkedIn news, so it will bring up things that are fairly topical. If you click into these, you will be able to share them. So it's a good way to start getting some content going if that's what you need to do with your profile. But what it will do is it will tell you the kind of things that it thinks you should see. So the information that it thinks you're going to like to see. But actually what you want to do is change that. So when you go to recent, you're going to change that to top news, okay? What that's going to do is that anybody who's posted most recently in your network will appear at the top. Recent is just anything that it thinks you want to see. So if you're following somebody like me, a recruitment consultant who's posting loads of different roles all the time, you're not going to see them if it's set to recent. If you set to top, then you might see that I've been posting roles all of today. Okay, now you have to do that every time you log in. It's a bit annoying, so make sure that you're always changing this to top. Okay. Obviously from here you can also start to share some content, and that's via the start your post. Okay, so when you log in to start a post, you can decide what you want to do. So you could potentially celebrate an occasion, you've completed an internship, or you've started your final year, you've finished your dissertation. Hopefully that will be coming up soon. Perhaps you want to get some conversation going. You could create a poll, and that could get something happening. Or perhaps you've recently finished a project and you really want to demonstrate some of your work. You can actually post about it here and upload a file. Choose a file from here and upload something to share with your network. Remember, whatever you put out there is going to be professional and it is open to public scrutiny, so you just have to be a little bit aware of that and make sure that you've got the relevant permission from those who you need to. Another really good point here is to start writing an article. Perhaps you've not been able to get a placement given the current climate, or you really want to get an internship and that's just not happened. Don't just sit back and do nothing. A good way to start building your experience is to actually start creating some articles from your LinkedIn profile. When you click into this, it does look fairly like a blog site, okay? So it could be that you've got a particular area of interest that you want to demonstrate your experience in. Start writing some articles here or sharing examples of your work, maybe linking to your ePortfolio or GitHubs if you have them. And that's a good way to start sharing relevant content and start getting yourself noticed. So there's lots of different things that happen here. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at your profile now. You can get to your profile in two different ways. You can either click on the left-hand side here, or you can go to your little photo up at the top and go View Profile. Okay. So, as I mentioned, LinkedIn is based off keyword matching. So that means the more industry-specific language that you use on your profile, the more highly you will rank in Search Recruiter's results. Okay, this search bar has really high functionality. So what recruiters will do is they'll click in here and they will type all the different skills that they're looking for from an applicant, and they'll hit enter, and all of the profiles that have all of those skills listed will rank more highly, and they'll be the ones being sent messages. So if you are being contacted by recruiters, you know that your profile is doing the right thing. And once you start to put those keywords onto your profile, this is actually then going to optimize your profile, so you start to get some of those results. Now, if we look at the start of your profile, you'll see that this first part is similar to the top of your CV, where you've got your name, your details, your about section, maybe your skills. And that's really important. Okay, so you must make sure that you spend a good amount of time here, making sure that this looks smart. If we scroll down to this people you may know, I can see here, so I've got the person's picture, I've got their name, and I've got their headline. So actually that's all that appears in LinkedIn searches. So you've got to make sure that these things are working for you, because that's going to drive views to your profile. So if we start with your profile picture, you obviously want a nice professional photo on there, one that kind of represents the role that you want to work in. And we always recommend that actually the way that you build your profile is viewing yourself as if you are in the job role that you want to be in. Now that's going to be really important when it comes to your headline. As you can see here, I obviously got my current role here, but if you have got student of Coventry University, which it will automatically update you to when you add Coventry University to your profile, you want to be updating that and changing it to represent the role that you want to work as. So you could say something like aspiring mechanical engineer with experience, 1 year experience working at wherever it may be. Okay, so pop yourself a headline in here which is actually going to drive views to your profile, and that's going to really optimize your profile. Similar sort of thing is that you could put your BA ons or your BEng, whatever it is, on here so that you can start to show that you've got the relevant accreditation needed. Now, when it comes to LinkedIn, everything is editable via these little pencils. So what we're going to do is click into the pencil. If you edit your LinkedIn profile on a phone, you'll be able to add a name pronunciation. This is a new feature, one that's quite good. And this is where you can add and change your headline also. Okay. You can then control what you like. So we always say put your education into your intro. And remember that you put your location. And this location is going to be the location that you're looking for work in, because that's what recruiters in that local area will be using. So try to make that as kind of representative as where you want to be. And you'll see that you can actually put it to the Greater Coventry area. You can try and play around with that as much as you can. Select the relevant industry from the loads and loads there are on there. And if you've got something like a GitHub or a portfolio that you want to link to, maybe your Twitter, which I know Hannah mentioned earlier, then again, include that here so everything's in one place. Okay. The other thing that we're going to do here is actually put that we're open to work. Now, if you're soon to be graduating from your course, it's really important that we start to get some messages out there that you are looking for work so that recruiters can start to find you. And you can do that via this little pencil here. So if we click into this. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is add the job titles that you're looking for. So you might be looking to become a mechanical engineer. So we're going to include that there, but you can actually add as many job titles as you want to. Same, make sure this locations are relevant for where you're looking for work, okay? And again, you can add multiple locations in there. And a new feature is you can add that I'm open to remote work, because we know that there's lots more remote working opportunities now available. Add some more information, so if you're looking for immediate starts or if you are casually browsing, and if you're looking for full-time temporary roles, whatever it is that you're looking for. Now, you may have seen the hashtag open to work banner on people's profiles. You do that by clicking on this little arrow here, and you can change it to include all LinkedIn members. And by doing that, that's going to add that little profile banner onto your photo so that you can start to engage with your community on LinkedIn. Once you've done this and press save, you will then have an option to post a message about that and to send something out. And you'll see lots of people will have posted a message to say, I'm currently looking for work. If you've got anything, please let me know. Something along those lines. Now, I'm not going to do that because my manager will be thinking, what on earth is going on? So I shall take that bit off and move on to the next part of the profile, which is the about section. Okay. Now, you can see this about section. We've got about three lines there before we click see more. Now, the about section should really give a good overview to you, and you can be using your elevator pitch to help you draft this section. So some of the things you might want to include in this section, things around what's your USP, what services do you provide, what are your expertise, what specific knowledge or experience do you have. And this has actually got a really big character limit in here. So you can really click into it and there's lots and lots of opportunities to include. Now, I usually recommend that you have a good few paragraphs in there. So maybe your first paragraph might be similar to something that you've got in your CV, maybe another paragraph which gives an overview as to your experience. And then maybe you could put an area of expertise and bullet point all of the skills that you have that you think are relevant. Remember, LinkedIn profiles are based off keywords. So the more keywords you use on your profile and potentially using bullet points to help you achieve this, the more highly you will rank. So try to use this about section as much as you possibly can to draw out all of the skills that you need. If you're not sure what skills need to appear in your profile because you're not sure about kind of what employers want from you, start looking at job descriptions, okay? Pull up loads of different job descriptions and don't apply for them, use them, download them, try to pick out all of the skills, and where you've got them, write them on your CV. There's a really good website called Wordle.net, WORDLE.net, and that creates a word cloud. So if you put a job description onto the Wordle site, it will create a word cloud, and the ones that are used most prominently will appear big in the word cloud. So they're the ones that you might want to include on your profile. So make sure that you're doing as much as you can to get those keywords on there. Your featured section. Now, this is an opportunity for you to showcase your work, as it says here. So if you've done any projects or you've got examples of your CAD/CAM work or anything that you've done that you really want to showcase, please do include this here because this is really high search functionality. If you have lots of examples of work on your profile, you will rank more highly. Not only that, but actually it's a tangible way for anybody viewing your profile to see what you're good at, and that makes it much easier for them to drop you a message and ask them if you're available for work. Now, your dashboard tells you everything that's happening on your LinkedIn profile. Now, remember earlier we talked about all-star profiles. You will know if you've got an all-star profile if you've got this little logo here. If you've not, it might say that you need to add a profile photo, for example. LinkedIn profiles that don't have a profile photo are 7 times less likely to be viewed. So you've got to make sure that you're filling in all of the relevant sections on your profile to achieve the all-star status, and then you will be 27 times more likely to appear in those search results. Now this tells you everything that's happening here, how many views you're getting to profile, how many views you're getting on your most recent post, and how many search appearances you are appearing in. So we can see here that we've got 60 search appearances, and that's 60 people who've actually typed my name into this box or who have Googled me and found my profile. Okay, so when you're looking at starting to update your profile, you see that probably this number might be quite low. You want to check that back in a couple of weeks and see if that number is growing. And if it is, you're doing the right thing. If it's not, do a little bit more tweaking. Okay, so keep an eye on that number. Your activity obviously tells you everything that's happening in your network. And then you've got your experience section. Now, in your experience, you want to be including any internships that you've done, any placements that you've been on, anything that's relevant. However, I do appreciate that there may be some people on the call today who have not had any experience. That is absolutely fine. What you can do if that's the case is click into the plus and actually add an experience as if you want to be in that role. Okay, so you might want to say that you want to work in mechanical engineering again. I'm just going to use that as an example. And then you can put in where it says company, you can put actively seeking. No, yep, actively seeking is absolutely enough. Add your location to where you're looking for roles. Okay, Coventry. And what we're going to do is include that I'm currently working in this role, which is absolutely fine. Now this is going to say end this position because that's the one that I have here at the moment. You want to untick update my headline because you don't necessarily want it to appear on the top of your profile. Okay, so we're going to untick that one. And instead, when we get to this description box, we're going to include all of the things that you can offer in a mechanical engineering role. So all of the skills that you've got, all of the technical experience that you've got, everything that you can offer in that particular role. And then you're going to save that, okay? And that's a really good way to get experience onto your profile. The reason why we do that is because, again, profiles that don't have any experiences recorded are less likely to be viewed. So the more that you have on there, the more likely you are to be viewed. If you've done a placement, then make sure that you've included all the information about what you did on that placement. And again, you can do this via bullet points, probably similar to what you've got going on in your CV here, so use it to guide you. And make sure that when you click into your pencil, if you've got any examples of your work that you are able to showcase, then upload it as a media file. And that will, again, drive more views to your profile. Okay. So you're going to do that for all of your roles, and the same when it comes to your education. If we click into the Pencil View Education, make sure that you've linked Coventry University here, and I'm going to show you in a small while as to why that's so important. Add the degree you're studying in and the degree name and the year that you've done it. Pop your grade in if you've got it. The fact that you're on this society, make sure that you include that here and any other positions of responsibility that you've had. And use this description box again to include all the information that you possibly can. So here you can see I've got things around the modules that I studied, how the course was delivered, some of the skills that I developed through the course. This course that I did actually had to undertake several placements, so I gave some idea as to where they were based. So make sure that you're including as much information as possible. Again, it's going to help you when it comes to the keyword matching. You've got any examples of your coursework that you've willing to showcase and that you can showcase, again, upload those here. What we're trying to say here is the more that you include on your profile, the more highly you're going to rank, and that's going to be really quite useful for you. And you're going to continue that the whole way through. Now, I'm going to talk about licenses and certifications shortly. If you've done any volunteering experience, exactly the same applies. Make sure you include all the information. From your volunteering experience, you might want to be thinking about emphasising those transferable skills that might move across to the different sectors that you're working in. Now, then you've got this skills section. Now, your skills is absolutely essential that you get this right. If you spend any time on your LinkedIn profile, make sure it's on the skills section. What we've got here is we can see there's 3 that show on the short part of your profile, but when you click show more, you will see all the different skills, and try and just spend time including as many skills as you possibly can. The reason why this is so important is because LinkedIn, it works off the algorithms and the matching, so the jobs that appear in this job section and the people who appear in your network will all be based off what's happening in this skills section. So have a look at that skills section and see if it reflects the job role that you want to work in. Don't think about now, think about who you want to be in a couple of years' time and build this skills section off the back of that, okay? And all you're going to do is go into add new skill, and you'll see that once you start adding a few, it suggests a load more as well, and you're just going to literally add them and then click add, and they will attach onto your profile, okay? Again, you can see there's a couple of numbers going on here, and these are people who've endorsed these skills on my profile. So as a society, it would be great if after this you could all support each other by endorsing each other with skills and recommendations, which I'm going to come on to in a moment. And that really shows again that actually you're building a bit of credibility. Anybody viewing your profile can see, great, this person's really they've not just said that that's their skill. I know that 5 people have said that, yeah, this person's really good at communications. It adds credibility to your profile. You want to make sure that the 3 that are visible when you're doing a quick search of your profile are the ones that most represent the job role that you want to work in as well. And we do that by clicking on the pencil, and you'll see all of the different skills here. Okay, now say I don't think personal branding is actually the one that I want people to know about the most. I really want them to know that I do psychometrics. I'm just going to drag that up, pop it there. Oh, it's not going to do that now. Delete that one first, that's why. And then move up. This happens every time I do this one. Attach. There we go. So you drag it up and then click the little pin and click save. Okay, and those are the 3 that you want that will best reflect your skills. We also talk about recommendations. Now, if you've got recommendations on your profile, you're much more likely to be viewed, okay? So what I recommend that you do is if you've worked on any projects with any of your peers, please ask them if they can add a recommendation on your profile, and you will add one to theirs. That's a really good way to support each other. You can also ask for recommendations actually through your profile itself. So I could say here, I would like my colleague Emma to send me a recommendation. I can say that we work with each other, and I can say where we've worked with each other and send next. Work your way through this, and you can send as many of these as you want to. Obviously, you don't want to be spamming people left, right, and centre. So what I recommend that you do is actually make a list of the key people who you think would be good to add a recommendation onto your profile. Somebody from your placement, for example, maybe a lecturer, maybe somebody you worked on a recent project with, who can showcase a variety of skills, not just the same skills, okay? You can add any accomplishments here, and your interests are based off companies that you actually follow. So there's lots and lots of different things that you can do here. Now, I'm just conscious of the time, but when we are working on LinkedIn, there are a couple of things that people always ask me about. Firstly is the security element. So if you are looking at updating your profile and improving your privacy, you can do that via the settings in privacy here, okay? One thing that you can also do though is you can actually scroll to the top of your profile. So you're on your main profile here, and just on the right hand side you can see edit public profile and URL. Now if we click on this, you'll see that's going to bring up a different page. We've got the two tabs open here. Now the best way of looking at this is that there are actually two profiles on your LinkedIn profile. One which you can view on LinkedIn, and this one which can be viewed via Google. Okay, so recruiters are not just using LinkedIn to search for you, but they're also using Google, which will bring up your LinkedIn profile. So just to make sure that you're happy with what's going out onto Google, you can edit that here. So I've set mine so I'm happy for people to view me, but there's certain things that I don't want them to see on Google. So I've taken those off. So say I really don't want them to see my past experience, I can just update that there, and it will do it straight away. Okay. The other thing that you want to do is to optimize your profile whilst you're at this point. So you can see that your LinkedIn URL is here. You might have your name plus a series of different numbers and letters and jumbly bits at the end. Click into that and try to get rid of those letters, okay? Because people won't be searching Morgan Gore AG56TF. They're going to be searching just my name. So if you take those off, you might have to play around with it. I can't believe it, but there was actually another Morgan Gore, so I had to put a hyphen in the middle. Try get as close as you possibly can, but just get those letters off. That will optimize your profile, save it, and then you can use this copy and paste to add to your CV, to add to your email strip on your professional email, to add to your e-portfolio, whatever it might be. Okay. There's lots of different things there. Now I'm just going to go super quickly through the last few things. So firstly, around your network. Now the first thing that you should do is when you click on your network section, once you scroll down, and once your profile is optimized, you will see that people start appearing in the people who you may know. So this is a good place to start growing your connections. LinkedIn is not about the quantity of your connections, it's about the quality. So you only want to be connecting people who can add value. You'll find there's lots of random people on LinkedIn that will send you requests for it appears no obvious reason. If there seems to be no link between the two, don't accept them because it doesn't really make too much sense. If they appear to be adding something but you just want to clarify, send them a message. That's also absolutely fine. Now, when you're scrolling through this, you may see somebody who you want to connect with. Okay, so I've got somebody here. I'm going to go connect. And that's going to do it straight away from there. Okay. So you can start to build your connections that way. Obviously, the other thing that you can then do is start to look at maybe recruitment consultants who are looking in your potential area. So I've prepared one here. You make sure you use inverted commas for each of the searches that you use. So I'm going to look for somebody who's recruiting in the rail industry in Coventry. Let's have a look and see who I can find. Brilliant. So I've got some people here. Look, so fantastic. We've got Brian, and I can connect with Brian. So what I'm going to do is when I send that connection, I'm not just going to press send straight away. I'm actually going to add a note. And guess what? I'm going to use my elevator pitch that I've drafted today. I'm going to tailor it slightly because I'm going to look at Brian's profile beforehand and see how I can add value. And I'm going to send him a message. Now remember, it's only 300 characters, so you do have to be limited, but try and explain in that invitation as to why you are contacting or connecting with that person. You should never really be sending a connection request without completing this part. So make sure that every connection that you send, you actually are doing that. I don't want to connect with Brian, so I shall take that off. Okay, the other thing that I'm going to do just quickly then is show you about this search criteria. So if we go home, and if we click into our search bar, we're not going to type anything here. We're just going to press enter, okay? And that's going to give us lots of different options at the top, which we can play around with, okay? So we've had a look at the people one. We're going to look at the jobs one now, okay? So I'm going to go jobs here. I'm going to see what appears. Now, as we said, your jobs that you will be kind of appear here will be the ones that are most linked to your profile. So before you do anything, have a look and see what you've got coming up here. And if you've got similar roles as to what you want to work in, your profile is not too far off. If they are absolutely, why on earth are these appearing on my, I don't want to do these at all, then your profile still needs some work, okay? So mine will be very confusing because I've got some engineering, some recruitment because of my role, but you can see these are all the different ones here. You can actually search them. So if we're looking for, I don't know, mechanical engineer, United Kingdom, but you can make it more specific to West Midlands if you want to. Make sure that you set this as a job alert, and we're just going to do that by selecting this little icon here and saying whether we want it daily or weekly and saving that search result. Okay, and then that will appear here as notifications every day or every week, however you've set that up. Now, when you look at the roles that are available to you, you'll be able to see some information about the role. Okay, now this one, if I click apply, is going to take me to their specific website, but some others, if we click on this one, we can see this validation mechanical engineer role here is actually using your LinkedIn Easy Apply. Now, if this is new to you, this is you don't need to fill in any application forms. It's a dream. You can just click Easy Apply and off it goes. However, you must make sure that your profile is optimized first to make you rank more highly, okay, in that application, and you will have the opportunity to attach a CV here as well. So make sure that you're also attaching, you have to work your way through these parts. Make sure that you are also attaching a tailored CV at this point so that you have got the best opportunity to really showcase your experience for that specific role. Okay. So there's lots of things that you can do here. I'm just going to go back home. Two more things that I really want to show you. Again, I'm just going to go into the search bar. I'm just going to press enter. Okay. So we've had a look at the jobs. You can also have a look at the posts that people are making. Now, this time of year, this is a really good technique. So if we go on to posts. Okay. Now here's one that I prepared earlier. I search Coventry in inverted commas. We are recruiting in inverted commas and mechanical engineer in inverted commas. Now this is the way that Boolean keyword searching works, so make sure that you're kind of using these inverted commas. But this shows, if I click on this, it shows what content is actually appearing. I'm going to go posts here in my network and who is recruiting. So we can see there are 27 results. I mean, to be fair, I didn't put in a very wide. You may need to play around with the kind of location or the terminology that you're using. Maybe instead of we're recruiting, try we are hiring. You have to play around with it a bit. But you can see what content is going out there. So we can see we've got this person here. If you're an engineer, we're looking for opportunities. And this is a really good way to actually be finding those roles that have not gone to market yet. So the ones that are still with the recruitment agencies looking to be found. Okay, so that's a really useful tool. Now, like I said, I could talk about LinkedIn for ages and ages, but there are other things that are really good about LinkedIn. So if we go back here, you've got your groups. If you're not a part of any LinkedIn groups, I really recommend that you do that. So for example, IMechE, you've got some fantastic groups, if I could spell it. Got some really good groups that you can be a part of. Again, a really good way to develop your industry knowledge, to connect with new people, to start that networking, to see where your opportunities lay. So if you're not part of any groups, I recommend that you do that. There's another really useful tool on the jobs section here as well. So all of your jobs that you have optimized your profile for will appear here. This is where you do your job searching. But on this More tab, if you click on this, you will see there's a couple of really good features here. The one that I like the most is the interview prep tool. Okay, so if you are going for interviews in the next couple of weeks for graduate schemes for placements, you can actually use this tool to go through and practice some of the most frequently asked questions in interview. You can actually practice them using their AI feature on LinkedIn, which is really quite snazzy, and see some example answers and what employees are looking for from that as well. So it's a good way for you to do some prep. Remember, LinkedIn could be used for really good company research too. If you wanted to look at Siemens, for example, perhaps you've got an interview coming up for them, make sure that you go onto their company page, because fairly often employers will be using LinkedIn to share their information and the projects that they're working on much more than their websites. Okay, so whilst that's doing its thing, I recommend that you do that. Super finally from me is the last tool, which is LinkedIn Learning. Okay, now if you've not used LinkedIn Learning, you can access that just along the top bar here. You'll see this last tab, Learning. If you're not seeing that, it's probably because Coventry University isn't listed on your profile. Okay, so you can only have access to LinkedIn Learning for free if you've got Coventry University on your profile. So make sure that that's there and you'll have access to this. LinkedIn Learning will give you access to thousands and thousands and thousands of free online courses on every particular area that you could ever ask for. So some of the ones that I really like, there's a really good one on starting a new job, there's one on assessment centres, there's one on asking powerful questions, which is really good for if you are going on work experience or an internship, and you can work your way through these. Some of them are only really short videos, others are full-blown courses. But once you've actually done it, it will attach onto your profile. And remember, when we were looking at your profiles, we can see it goes to this licenses and certifications section at the bottom here. So you can see these are the ones that I've done recently. Okay, so if you're looking to show off to an employer or to your network that you're learning a new skill, you've done something, LinkedIn Learning is an absolutely fantastic tool to do that too. I'm just going to bring up this last stage, which is just a summary of some of the things that we've talked about today. Firstly, a reminder that 93% of recruiters look up candidates on LinkedIn, so make sure that you include the relevant keywords to increase that search engine optimization. Ensure that your profile is completed to an all-star profile. Make sure that your professional headline is demonstrated on your profile and that your skills and expertise really shine through. Ask your connections for recommendations to demonstrate your credibility. I'd really like to see some of you, maybe after the session today, dropping each other some recommendations onto your profiles, and connecting with each other if you have not connected with each other yet. I did this at university. I always tell the story. I did this at university. I connected with everybody on my course. A couple of years later, the top guy in my class, he was so smart. He went and got a really fantastic role in London and actually asked me to join his company. And that's because we had connected on LinkedIn. He'd gone into this fantastic role. The problem was it was in London and I didn't want to go to London. But you never know who's going to be the future bosses in the future. So connect with everybody because you're all going to be working in the same sector in 20 years' time. So that's going to be really quite useful. Yes, and be proactive. We didn't talk much about updating your status regularly, but please make sure that you are doing that, sharing any posts, sharing any articles. That increases your traffic. A couple of top tips. Remember, it is a online platform, so make sure that you're professional but also careful. Google yourself or ask a friend to Google yourself, so that you can start to see what is going out there and that you're happy with it. Follow people who are relevant to your career and not people who are not. There's a lot of those on LinkedIn, I have to say. And try to aim for a kind of around the 150 people mark. That's going to provide you with a good amount of information, but not too much that you're drowning. And this is a really nice slide that I kind of pinched from somebody, which you probably can tell by my terrible editing. But how to develop career curiosity in 5 key ways. Be interested in people, be a learner in life, keep an open mind, be open to new opportunities, and crucially, be an investigator. And they say that these are the best way to open yourself up to new opportunities. Okay, that's all from me.